This YouTube video was produced with the assistance of artificial intelligence. Specifically, the visuals were generated using ChatGPT, the script was composed using Claude AI, and the narration was synthesized using Edge-TTS. Dynamic. Definition: characterized by constant change, activity, or progress, full of energy and producing new ideas or approaches. Collocation: dynamic environment, dynamic process, dynamic market, dynamic leadership, highly dynamic. Synonym: energetic, vibrant, active, evolving. Example: the technology sector is a highly dynamic industry where companies must innovate continuously to remain competitive. Her dynamic leadership style inspired the entire team to embrace change and pursue ambitious goals. A dynamic approach to curriculum design allows educators to adapt their teaching methods to the evolving needs of students. Subside. Definition: to become less intense, severe, or widespread, to gradually decrease, calm down, or settle to a lower level. Collocation: pain subsides, tensions subside, floodwaters subside, fears subside, gradually subside. Synonym: diminish, decrease, ease, abate. Example: public outrage over the policy gradually subsided after the government issued a detailed explanation of its rationale. Doctors assured the patient that the swelling and discomfort would subside within a few days of treatment. Once the floodwaters subsided, emergency teams were able to access the affected areas and begin relief operations. Acquire. Definition: to gain possession of something through effort, purchase, or experience, to obtain or develop a skill, quality, or asset over time. Collocation: acquire knowledge, acquire skills, acquire a company, acquire experience, newly acquired. Synonym: obtain, gain, secure, attain. Example: the corporation acquired a smaller competitor to strengthen its position in the European market. Students are encouraged to acquire practical experience through internships before entering the professional workforce. Over the course of her career, she acquired an extensive knowledge of international trade regulations. Distribution. Definition: the process of supplying, delivering, or spreading goods, resources, or information to various recipients or locations, also refers to the way something is shared or spread across an area. Collocation: distribution network, income distribution, distribution channel, distribution of resources, equal distribution. Synonym: allocation, delivery, supply, dispersal. Example: the company invested heavily in expanding its distribution network to reach customers in remote rural areas. Unequal distribution of wealth remains one of the most pressing socioeconomic challenges facing the modern world. Efficient distribution channels are critical for ensuring that essential medical supplies reach healthcare facilities on time. Pledge. Definition: a serious and formal promise or commitment to do something or give something, also means to make such a promise publicly. Collocation: pledge support, pledge allegiance, make a pledge, fulfill a pledge, pledge to donate. Synonym: promise, vow, commitment, oath. Example: the president pledged to invest significantly in renewable energy infrastructure over the next decade. Several major corporations made a public pledge to achieve carbon neutrality by the year 2040. The Alumni Association pledged generous financial support to fund scholarships for underprivileged students. Virus. Definition: a microscopic infectious agent that replicates inside the living cells of an organism and can cause disease, also refers to a malicious software program designed to damage computer systems. Collocation: computer virus, virus spreads, virus outbreak, virus detection, virus mutation. Synonym: pathogen, infection, malware, microbe. Example: health authorities implemented strict containment measures to prevent the virus from spreading to neighboring regions. The IT security team detected a computer virus that had compromised several servers within the corporate network. Scientists are closely monitoring the virus for potential mutations that could affect the efficacy of existing treatments. Definition. Definition. A precise statement explaining the meaning of a word, term, or concept, also refers to the degree of clarity or sharpness in an image or outline. Collocation. By definition, clear definition, broad definition, definition of success, high definition. Synonym. Meaning, explanation, description, interpretation. Example. The legal team requested a clear definition of the key terms used throughout the contract before signing. By definition, a sustainable business model must balance profitability with social and environmental responsibility. The debate centered on the broad definition of human rights and how it should be applied in different cultural contexts. Molecule. Definition. The smallest unit of a chemical compound that retains its chemical properties, consisting of two or more atoms bonded together. Collocation. Molecule structure, water molecule, molecule of DNA, complex molecule, organic molecule. Synonym. Particle, compound, element, unit. Example. The research team successfully identified a molecule that could potentially inhibit the growth of cancer cells. Understanding the structure of a water molecule is fundamental to studying chemistry at any academic level. Scientists used advanced imaging technology to observe how complex molecules interact during chemical reactions. Diligently. Definition. In a way that shows careful and persistent effort, hard work, and close attention to detail in carrying out a task. Collocation. Work diligently, diligently pursue, diligently prepared, diligently follow, diligently monitor. Synonym. Carefully, thoroughly, industriously, conscientiously. Example. The legal team worked diligently for months to prepare a comprehensive case for the landmark trial. Students who diligently follow the study plan tend to achieve significantly higher scores on standardized examinations. The Quality Assurance Department diligently monitors every stage of the production process to maintain the highest standards. Mobilize. Definition. To organize and prepare people, resources, or systems for action, especially in response to a crisis or to achieve a particular objective. Collocation. Mobilize resources, mobilize support, mobilize troops, mobilize communities, mobilize efforts. Synonym. Organize, rally, assemble, activate. Example. The government mobilized emergency response teams within hours of the earthquake striking the coastal region. Community leaders mobilized thousands of volunteers to participate in the nationwide environmental cleanup campaign. The organization successfully mobilized public support for the proposed legislation through a series of awareness campaigns. Respective. Definition. Belonging or relating separately to each of the people or things already mentioned, particular to each individual in a group. Collocation. Respective roles, respective countries, respective fields, in their respective positions. Synonym. Individual, separate, particular, own. Example. After the joint conference, the delegates returned to their respective countries to implement the agreed-upon reforms. Each department head is responsible for managing the budget allocated to their respective division. The two scientists made significant contributions in their respective fields before collaborating on the interdisciplinary project. Overwhelming. Definition. Very great in amount, force, or effect, so powerful or intense that it is difficult to resist, manage, or cope with. Collocation. Overwhelming majority, overwhelming evidence, overwhelming support, overwhelming response, overwhelming feeling. Synonym. Immense, overpowering, tremendous, staggering. Example. The proposal received overwhelming support from both the public and members of the Legislative Committee. The overwhelming volume of applications made it necessary to extend the review period by an additional 2 weeks. Researchers presented overwhelming evidence linking prolonged air pollution exposure to increased rates of respiratory disease. Dialogue. Definition. A conversation or discussion between two or more parties, especially one directed toward exploration of ideas, resolution of problems, or mutual understanding. Collocation. open dialogue, constructive dialogue, political dialogue, engage in dialogue, dialogue between. Synonym: conversation, discussion, exchange, negotiation. Example: the organization encourages open dialogue between management and staff to address workplace concerns constructively. Establishing a meaningful political dialogue is essential for achieving lasting peace in the conflict-affected region. The summit provided a valuable platform for dialogue between developed and developing nations on trade policy. Deprivation. Definition: the state of lacking or being denied something considered essential for well-being, such as food, sleep, education, or basic rights. Collocation: sleep deprivation, social deprivation, economic deprivation, deprivation of rights, suffer deprivation. Synonym: lack, deficiency, hardship, denial. Example: chronic sleep deprivation has been linked to a range of serious health problems, including cardiovascular disease. Communities affected by economic deprivation often face limited access to quality healthcare and education services. The report highlighted the deprivation of fundamental rights experienced by marginalized populations across the region. Threshold. Definition: the level, point, or value at which something begins to take effect, change, or become noticeable, also refers to the entrance or starting point of something. Collocation: pain threshold, threshold level, cross the threshold, minimum threshold, threshold for. Synonym: limit, boundary, point, brink. Example: the pollution levels in the river have exceeded the safety threshold established by environmental regulators. Investors should be aware that crossing certain income thresholds may result in different tax obligations. The company set a minimum performance threshold that all employees must meet during their probationary period. Planet. Definition: a large celestial body that orbits a star, does not produce its own light, and has sufficient mass for its gravity to maintain a roughly spherical shape. Collocation: planet Earth, save the planet, planet surface, across the planet, inhabitable planet. Synonym: world, globe, celestial body sphere. Example: scientists continue to search for potentially inhabitable planets beyond our solar system using advanced telescope technology. Protecting the planet for future generations requires collective action on climate change from every nation. The documentary examined how human activity is affecting ecosystems across the planet at an unprecedented rate. Adore. Definition: to love and respect someone or something deeply and intensely, to feel great fondness or admiration for someone or something. Collocation: absolutely adore, adore children, adore someone for, adore the idea, adore doing something. Synonym: love, cherish, worship, treasure. Example: she absolutely adores traveling to new countries and immersing herself in different cultures and traditions. The children adore their grandmother, who always makes time to read stories and play games with them. Audiences around the world adore the performer for her extraordinary talent and genuine warmth on stage. Disseminate. Definition: to spread or distribute information, knowledge, or ideas widely so that they reach a large number of people. Collocation: disseminate information, disseminate knowledge, widely disseminated, disseminate findings, disseminate research. Synonym: spread, distribute, circulate, broadcast. Example: the organization used multiple channels to disseminate critical public health information during the outbreak. Academic conferences serve as important venues for researchers to disseminate their findings to the wider scientific community. Social media platforms have made it possible to disseminate both accurate and misleading information at unprecedented speed. Stagnation. Definition: the state of not growing, developing, or progressing, a prolonged period of little or no activity, change, or advancement. Collocation: economic stagnation, period of stagnation, wage stagnation, avoid stagnation, stagnation in growth. Synonym: inactivity, standstill, decline, dormancy. Example: Prolonged economic stagnation in the region has led to rising unemployment and declining living standards. The industry faces the risk of stagnation unless companies embrace innovation and invest in emerging technologies. Wage stagnation over the past decade has significantly reduced the purchasing power of middle-income households. Ramification. Definition: a complex or unwelcome consequence or effect that results from an action, decision, or event, often one that is not immediately obvious. Collocation: legal ramifications, political ramifications, far-reaching ramifications, potential ramifications, ramifications of a decision. Synonym: consequence, implication, effect, repercussion. Example: the legal ramifications of the court ruling could fundamentally reshape how technology companies handle user data. Policymakers must carefully consider the far-reaching ramifications of withdrawing from the International Trade Agreement. The decision to cut funding for public education may have serious long-term ramifications for the nation's workforce development.